Hey guys, I want to take a second to thank Comfort Pro. Since 2001, Comfort Pro has been helping customers stay comfortable where they live, work, and play. They stand behind their work with a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. They have 24/7 emergency service, and if you mention the show, you receive a free watchdog maintenance plan for 1 year. Call Comfort Pro at 484-917-1803. 484-917-1803. That's Comfort Pro. All right, here we go. Rock and roll.
From real estate
Affects the market as a whole, which then sometimes will affect the tenant.
Right. You know,
to real life.
We all learn in different ways. If you think about it, Wayne Dyer might not attract everybody.
And everything in between.
Mission was really to help people just to reach their full potential.
The Brad Weisman Show. And now, your host, Brad Weisman.
All right, we're back. We got a good one here. This is going to be a little different. We've been doing a lot of self-help, a lot of mindset stuff, a lot of deep thinking, and we're going to go back to some how to make some money.
Ooh, right.
How to make some money. How to do something a little different than a 401k, a 403b, a little bit different than an IRA. This is this guy's all about hard assets, and really those are like more tangible items. So I found him through Instagram, through his manager or our marketing people, and it's very interesting because he's really into it. He has a podcast called I Own It. It's actually now going to be called Ben Reinberg Show. So without any delay, we are going to bring Ben on the show. There he is.
Hello there.
What's up, Ben? How you doing?
Mr. Weisman, thank you so much for having me. What a privilege.
Mr. Weisman. That's funny.
Mr. Weisman?
Not much. My wife will call me Bradley Scott Weisman when she's pissed.
When she's pissed.
And she's pissed. But otherwise, I really don't. And my mom, too, still calls me Bradley Scott. You know?
Of course. Well,
does your parents still around or no?
Yeah, if my mom's mad at me, she'll say Benjamin. So I'm used to the full name.
Yeah, you got it. You got it right. And it's funny. You have the EI too, just like me. So does anybody ever call you Reinberg or anything like that?
It's interesting. If you're not a member of the tribe, you don't seem to understand how to pronounce my last name. So it's a hit or miss. Most people, before I get on a show, either on TV or on radio or on a podcast, Brad, the first thing they do is say, "Can you say your last name?" And I'm like, "What? Why don't you say it for me? I want to hear you say it." And so I'm always constantly testing people, and people are like, Reinberg. It's just amazing. I can't figure it out. It's
well, you said my name perfect.
Well, I mean, come on. That's easy.
Wiseman. I mean, we get Weisman, I get Wisman, I get all kinds of stuff. It's crazy.
I just think people don't understand English language.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So I'm excited to have you on here because I've been watching shows that you've been on, looking at your company online with your website, looked at the book that you wrote, and you're really into. And I just want to hit the beginning here with explaining what a hard asset is. I mean, I just think sometimes we get so into our businesses, we get so into what we do, and I just like to try and have it basic in the beginning so that the audience can start out knowing what we're talking about. So, explain what is a hard asset, and then also why are they the way to go? Like, why are you into the hard assets?
Well, let me take a step back and explain. I come from Chicago, and my philosophy is building wealth, not rich.
Right. Got you.
Anyone rich is what you own today. Wealth is building secured assets that will enhance your future and build a future empire like I have. So I talk about building wealth, and I do it through hard assets. And so when I was in Chicago, I used to see all these wealthy families like the Crowns and the Pritzkers and Sam Zell in commercial real estate. And I said, how do they do that? How do they produce wealth? How do they have all this wealth and abundance? It was through hard assets. And so hard assets is capital that's tied to something real, Brad. It's something that pays you. So it's disciplined capital that's backed by assets, and it's not a fantasy and it's not a speculation. So that's how you build resilience, because when markets crack, hard money keeps paying you and keeps you in control. So commercial real estate is an example of a hard asset. That's my expertise. That's my love. And so I talk about it. And so in my new book, Hard Assets and Hard Money for Hard Times, it's all written for you, the audience. It's not about me. It's not a memoir. It's not about my career. What it is how do you produce wealth by building a hard asset empire? And I give examples, I give war stories because I want people to be higher on the learning curve as they go through life. Because I look at it and I say, well, why am I writing this book? I don't need to write a book. I did it for the Ben Reinberg 32 years ago who started his career. That's how long I've been in commercial real estate. And I look at it and I say, for that guy, but it's also for the billionaire that's been successful. Because what it is, it allows you, I have a hard asset empire blueprint in the book, and you can download it. My gift to your audience today is they can download the blueprint for free if they go to benreinberg.com. And so when you go to my website and you see the blueprint, it's going to show you how to build your capstones and keystones and protect your vaults. And you're building a fortress. And it doesn't matter what level you're at. And the reason is because you're going to be able to go back and let's say you're a billionaire. You're going to look at it and say, you know what? I got to work on data security. I didn't think about that. Or I need to think of this variable. Or as technology changes and life changes, we have to constantly adapt. And so what I did was I said to my team, I said, we wrote the book. We got to go a level deeper. So I said, let's create like college level courses, 101, 201, 301, 401, and let's create courses that you can take to bring the book to life, to really learn how to build a hard asset empire. And so hard assets to me are the biggest clue because, what's interesting is the smartest families and institutions and sovereign wealth and money, they're all shifting back to hard assets right now. And that tells you everything. That's the tell. And so if you want to produce wealth and massive wealth, that's what I teach. It's through hard assets.
Yeah. Well, it's something you can grab onto. You can hold on to it. It's real. We had a little conversation, Hugo and I, before we went on with you, just talking about stocks and bonds and all these different things. And, I've been in real estate for 33 years. So I totally, I'm in that same boat as far as being around tangible hard assets and selling them. Of course, it's in the way of a residential property, but I've always say and I've owned commercial and multi-units, and it's never worth nothing. So a company, you could buy a stock and the company goes out of business and your stock is worth zero, absolutely zero. So the good thing I always think about real estate is that, it might go down a little bit. But I can pretty much tell you it's going to go back up, and it's never worth zero. There's always something there that you can loan against. You can rent it. You can create passive income. You have a tax shelter there. There's so many benefits as opposed to just owning a piece of paper.
Let me give you some knowledge. I mean, hard assets are what real wealth is built on. And what shifts in today's landscape is pushing them to the forefront because like we talked about, hard assets, which are real, tangible, cash flowing assets, they don't disappear when the market throws a tantrum. Yeah. And so paper wealth, we've seen drop in 40% in a week, and that's a large number. So hard assets hold their value, like you just mentioned, and they produce income through the storm or any storm. And so, like I said, the reason why you have this shift in the money into hard assets, it's because because they look and they say, well, how do I diversify my capital? How do I produce consistent cash flow? One of the reasons why we invest in medical office, it's a large presence, we're one of the leaders in the United States, is because it's tangible. Everyone has to go to the doctor. Human body never goes out of style. Our tenants are based on the human body. And that's a hard asset that produces income, but also creates appreciation. I mean, one of the things that's crazy in this market is we're in one of the most chaotic markets we've seen in decades. We have inflation. We have rates that were rising. We have geopolitical risk going on. And most people, Brad, are scared and confused. And I am a little bit too at times. Yeah. I look at this market, I'm like, where is it going? And so I wrote this book for clarity and control, not for headlines and hype. It wasn't something that I thought of, I'm just going to write a book. I thought it was apropos to existing what the market is, because when the world gets shaky like it is, you can either guess or you can follow proven principles. And this book is the playbook for this environment. It's for how do you continue to build wealth and how do you continue to create consistency and build an empire in your life?
Yeah. Now, with that being said, is this type of an investment? I mean, I think what happens too is people glaze over as soon as they hear the word hard asset or they hear the word commercial real estate. Are you chunking it down that people that normally wouldn't be able to invest in a hard asset like this of commercial, industrial, medical buildings, things like that. Is that what you do? Are you compiling investors together to then go and purchase the properties?
Yes, and it's a great point. We bring in high net worth accredited investors, family offices, people all over the world that will invest in our funds and our syndications. And there's something I touch on in the book, which I think is really interesting that you touch on, is I talk about investing in smart money. What smart money is someone that has a track record. Like we have 250 years of leadership team experience in my company. We've been around for a long time. We're smart money. We've been there. We've done that. We can solve challenges in commercial real estate. So when I invest in other asset classes or other hard money, or it's gold or silver or cryptocurrency or digital assets or of companies, whatever I might invest capital into, I'm investing in smart money, people that have been there, that are higher on the learning curve, because you only have so much time in the day. Yeah. And so you have to invest in smart money. And so the reason why investors invest with us, like doctors like to invest in the medical fund, we have other investors of all different from the world in different industries that invest with us, because they don't want to go on the learning curve. They don't want to deal with tenants. They don't want to deal with property management. They don't want to deal with lease negotiations, lenders. The list goes on and on. It's a complicated business. Yeah. And I don't blame them. If I was in this business for 3 decades and I had capital and I want to invest in hard assets, I would invest in a alliance, my company type company, because there's so many nuances and so many variables to deal with. We're in the weeds every single day, Brad. And because of that, that's why investors invest with us. How do I get a current return? How do I get great equity? How do I get, mid-20s on medical fund returns? Yeah. It's incredible. So we allow people to come in our universe and say, okay, for 100,000, 500,000, $1 million, whatever you want to invest, you can come in our universe. We'll pay every quarter. We're going to send you letters. We're going to send you statements. You get K1s. Oh, by the way, we're going to give you incredible tax benefits through cost segregation studies.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
We look at all this and we say, okay, well, you want to build your hard asset empire. Great. You invest through Alliance. And I talk about in the book of invest in smart money. Okay. You only have so much time in the day. Be smart with your time. It's your biggest asset you have.
Yeah. And so you're going through there. So you kind of answered the question a little bit. So somebody could come into this and say, look, I've got $100,000 or $200,000. I just sold a property and I want to invest it in Alliance. So that is a way that they could start out. You don't have to come in with $2 million to be an investor with Alliance.
No, you can start small. And I mean, it's a lot of money, but relative to more money, it's a way for people to start building wealth. We have investors that have started with us years ago, and we've made them millions of dollars, and they continue to invest with us. And what's interesting is they realize, they say, okay, well, now I can't get a return on my money, but I can get great tax benefits where maybe I could take those tax benefits and offset other passive income investment of mine. So it's the gift that keeps on giving, commercial real estate. That's what I love about what we do. I'm a large fan of it. I'm a big investor of ours and what we do. And it's why I'm still in the business. I mean, I love what I do and I love helping people. And I love the fact that this book can kind of open the door and open the mind of someone out there saying, you know what, I've been trying to figure this out, how to build wealth. Let me figure it out. And so the book is cheap. The Hard Asset Empire Blueprint, you can download for free. Yeah. And it's my way to say, let me get you higher on the learning curve and go read the book and go download the blueprint. And if you want to go even deeper, you could take the classes too.
So the book starts at a level that's understandable for anybody that can just pick it up and start reading it and going in and going, okay, this is something I understand. I can grab one.
And it's authentic. It's like I share some war stories. I'm like, let me tell you something. You're going to go through some interesting times. You're going to have some shifts in attorneys and your accountants. Sure. You're going to look at your inner circle and say, well, who's in my green room that I want in my circle? The last chapter is critical because I talk about mindset. I talk about personal development. I talk about how you're going to deal with ups and downs as you go through life and business and building your hard asset empire. You're going to deal with people. You're going to eliminate family members, friends. You're going to outgrow people. You're going to do things differently. And so when you go through this, and this is from the forge fires that I've been in and my colleagues have been in, this is real world experience. It's not fluff. Yeah. And it's real world. And so it's building. And so we look at this stuff and we say, okay, well, let's give them the hard facts. Let's give them like, hey, it's going to be mentally challenging. So guess what? the last chapter is on your mind and your mindset and how to deal with things. And because you're going to deal with people and you're going to grow and change as a person. I know the Ben Reinberg from 22 years old, who's now almost 56 in a couple of weeks. He is completely different. If you knew me then and now, you're like, he was a baby then. Now he's a mature guy. He's been through billions of transactions. He's different. He looks at the world differently. He's kind. He's empathetic. He listens. He doesn't have this armor over him anymore. And so this is in the book because it talks about that you're going to go through times where it's not so easy or deals don't work out as well. And I talk about this in the book because I want people to realize, because no one does that. No one says, you know what? Everyone talks about the highs that they have, but no one's going to say, well, let me give you reality, because you're going to go through some situations or some deals or some investments where maybe it doesn't work out as well. So how are you going to deal with it, Brad? Are you going to react or are you going to respond? Yeah. And I teach people of this between your ears is everything. How you control your emotions, whether it be with employees, outside resources. Because people say to me, like, why do you do so much personal development? And why do you meditate and do all these things? Because I need to make sure my mind's right. I need to make sure that I'm present with people like I am with you right now, and that I show that I care, because that's how I influence people, is becoming a good listener. That's how you lead. That's how you inspire. And people always ask me, like, how do I become a good leader? Here's a little secret for everyone out there listening. You want to be a great leader, you have to inspire people, and you do that by listening and taking time to care and give a shit about people. Absolutely. You do that, you'll be a great leader.
Yeah, absolutely. So true. So true. So going through here, what's the difference between the syndication and what you do? Is that syndication what you're doing as far as with the properties? Hi, this is Brad Weisman. Come back here every Thursday at 7 p.m. to watch the Brad Weisman Show. We have new guests every single week, and we love having you as an audience. All right, we'll see you soon.
We do both. We do funds, discretionary funds, where we pick the properties for our investors. We also have syndications where, let's say we're buying a single asset, we'll raise money specifically for that investment. It might be a portfolio, it might be a single asset. It's specific vehicle for that acquisition. A fund is where it could be, we are acquiring 25 properties in the fund, and you own a piece of every property in the fund. So it's diversification. Yeah.
And as far as like a REIT, like a real estate investment trust, totally different than also, right?
It's different rules. Yeah, this is a private fund that we run.
Gotcha. Whereas a REIT is something you can actually buy on the stock market or whatever. On
Potentially, there are private REITs as well, but they have different rules and regulations they adhere to.
Just because I know people probably thinking, what's the difference between those different ones there? So did you start out coming out of high school going, I want to be doing this with hard assets? I mean, what was your goal coming out of high school or college or whatever you did? Just curious how you got into this.
I think when I was 8 years old, I saw these people and I said, all right, well, I don't come from wealth. How do I build wealth? Yeah. And like I said, I did the research when I was an early adult, and I said, okay, people are doing it through hard assets. And so for me, I went to Indiana University. I graduated from the business school. And when I came out of the school, I said, okay, I'm a CPA. I need to get a job. I'm in a recession. My mother said, go get a job. You need a job. We're in a recession. I got a job as a CPA. I hate it. But I was on audit, and a billionaire influenced me. And it influenced me to go out on my own. I decided to go out on my own, get into real estate, commercial real estate. You know, I was a little bit different, and I don't advise this to people. I went straight in as a principal. I jumped right in the deep water and said, okay, let's buy a deal. I buy a 95,000 square foot industrial building. I have no balance sheet. I went to my godfather to get a loan. He sat on a board of a bank. I made a presentation. I got a loan. I signed with recourse because I had nothing to lose. Yeah. And I raised a few $1 million in 30 days. And then, 30 days. And the lesson wasn't in the deal. I 3X'd it in 3 years, but that wasn't the lesson. It was everything that I learned along the way. How to deal with negotiations, how to deal with roofs and HVAC, how to deal with parking, how to negotiate with tenants, how to deal with your lender and financing and paying returns to investors. The deal exposed me to all the variables I had to really get my arms around and develop and cultivate. And it kept compounding deal after deal after deal and building buildings and et cetera. And what's great about commercial real estate, it's a marathon business. And so now I'm in the prime of my career, Brad, and allows me, you know, in our business, how it works is you spend the first third of your career on your back, the second third on your feet, and the last third on your stomach, because you're swimming and navigating pretty quickly at that point. And so I'm in the prime of my career. I've been through a lot of deals. And at the end of the day, it's what you have to do to become successful in this business. You got to be persistent and resilient. And I talk about this in the book. I want to give people a real view of what I've been through, because I want you higher on the learning curve instead of me. I don't want you to endure the pain and the different things I've been through in the business. I'd rather say, look, let me show you. Let me expose it to you. And you know what? You can make a decision. You can say, I want to be a principal. I want to do what Ben Reinberg does. Great. Or a lot of people, what I see is they're saying, I'd rather just invest with Ben Reinberg's company because it's so complex and such a pain in the ass. I'm going to focus on my niche. I am an incredible attorney. I'm going to focus on being an attorney. If I'm an accountant, insurance agent, if I sell residential real estate, I'm going to be the best at what I do, because guess what? In life, you get rewarded for focus. And I will say that again, life, when you pick a niche, I see more guys, they got like all these different companies and they boast, hey, I got this business and this business, but they're not making money and they're not building wealth because they're not focused. And so for me, I give you a realistic viewpoint. My focus for decades has been commercial real estate. That's how I've been able to live the life I live. And I tell people, once you make disposable income, then start building your hard asset empire. Invest with an alliance, invest with smart money, invest with a Brad if he's buying residential houses and rehabbing, whatever it is. That's how you do it. You can't be the jack of all trades. You know, I'm a 7-tool player in commercial real estate, but I'm not in digital assets or tokenization. I bring in people to understand that. I talk to my kids, I talk to friends, and I learn and grow, and I'm a sponge. So you have to be smart and you have to appreciate time. Time is your biggest asset. I'll give you something we did, and I can enhance your audience, that we did years ago. We brought in our leadership team into our West Coast office in Newport Beach. And we have a chief people officer. She's one of the most well-known, respected human behaviorists. And she said at that time, now don't hold me this, because the average lifespan, I think, is older now with health. It was 77 years old. Yeah. Okay. Let's say at the time I was 50 years old. Okay. So if you take 77 minus 50 times 52 weeks, you know, you got X amount of weeks, whatever that is. I'll tell you right now, you got, hold on. You know, this is the problem when you're in commercial real estate, you're into math. So
do you have the old school calculator sitting there?
I do. I have an old school.
Does it have the paper in it?
I take the paper out. Look at this. This baby is gorgeous.
Oh my gosh. That is old school. That's old school.
This is older.
They still work though.
Hewlett Packard 3C. This thing is so valuable. Like, I would cry if I ever lost it. I don't even have paper in it. Oh, I just hammer through like an accountant. Yeah. It's beautiful. So 1404 weeks left in my life.
Wow.
Now, we had someone else on our leadership team. I think she was like 30 years old at the time. Okay. So she had like 3 times as many weeks as me. Yeah. But if you think about time, you say, okay, let's say I got 1,100 weeks left to live based on that calculation.
Yeah.
You're going to pick who you hang out with, who you spend time with, what podcasts you go on, right? You're going to talk about, where am I spending my time? What's important to me at that point? Yeah. So your lens is different as you age.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you look at,
I'm right there with you.
Right. You look at time and you're like, okay, well, why am I going on this learning curve to build my hard asset empire to take it full circle? Yeah. And I'm saying to myself, well, that doesn't make sense. And so when I write the book, I explain of investing in smart money. It's all based on time.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's a good point. It was something, we had a guest on here at some point. I can't remember who it was, but they have children. I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. And they said, you know, don't look at it this way. Instead of looking at, wow, they're 13, you're going to be around for how many more years or whatever. Look at it this way. You have maybe 4 summers with your 13-year-old that they're going to want to hang out with you.
That's right.
4 summers. That's it.
Yep.
You know, so when you bring it down to that level as opposed to thinking, oh, there's so many years here, whatever. But when you think about it as summers or winters or whatever, it really changes how you look at things, which is the same thing about how many, you said you have 1,404 weeks or no, weeks or whatever to live? Is that what you said? Or to 75 or 77?
Yeah, we talked about our parents. My parents are in their 80s. They live in Chicago. I live on the West Coast. And it was interesting. Someone that worked for me on my leadership team, I do this 7 a.m. pep talk with my acquisitions and investor relations guys, the sales guys. And one of the guys said, he runs our multifamily division. He's like, yeah, I went home with my parents. They're getting old. And it made me think of what we just talked about, time. And I said, man, I got to go home and see my parents because, again, how many more times do I have holidays and experiences and stuff? And so you take that stuff for granted and you're like, well, wait a minute. If I go see them twice a year in Chicago, and let's say they have 4, 5, 6, whatever, 8 years left. Yeah. I got 10 more times of experience. And that starts to resonate with you. You look at it. So we all take it for granted time and you really like whittle it down and say, look at the reality. And you are aware of the situation. You say, okay, well, if I'm going to build a hard asset empire, how am I going to do it? Well, I'm going to invest with smart money and people. And that's what it's about. It's like, how do I leverage my time? And when you look at the first season of my show, it used to be I Own It, my podcast. Now it's going to be the Ben Reinberg Show. It's going to be on USA Today soon on January 22nd.
Oh, cool.
It launches. And so when I look at that, the first season was leverage. Yeah. Now it's not like your debt leverage. That's one type of it's leveraging your time, leveraging relationships, leveraging intelligence, technology. That's what it was about. And it was a really cool season, that show, because we talked about leverage, using it in all different ways. Yeah. And so when you're building a hard asset empire, you're going to use leverage by leveraging into people and technology and resources. That's how you do it. You have to do that. In commercial real estate, you can't know everything. You got to bring in great resources to help you grow. Absolutely.
No, it's interesting, as we're going through this, is that, I didn't think about this whole thing as being a time saver. I really didn't, and because I looked at it as being an alternative to a 401k or an IRA or, those kind of things, which is actually just a time saver also. We could do our own stocks if we want to. We could pick our own portfolio if we want to, but not many people, those are called day traders. Not many people actually do that. They usually hire somebody to do that job because we don't have the time to research it. But what's interesting about this, it's the same thing, but it's back with a more tangible type asset, which is awesome. Before we wrap this up, we're going to have to wrap it here soon, but the returns I was seeing that you showed were like in the 25% range returns. That's unbelievable. Is that common?
No, well, it depends, because in medical office, we've been about 24%, maybe a little bit higher, close to 25 in medical office. Overall, our portfolio has been upper 20s, 28% on office, industrial, retail, and medical office. And why that is because we just know the money's in the dirt. The money's where we buy. We've had some great opportunities, some great markets to sell into. And the reason behind that, Brad, is I am a big philosopher in the real estate fundamentals. I learned the business the right way. The key to this business is the ability to hold. You'll hear me say that online numerous times, because when you can ride a cycle, see, everyone thinks that real estate just descends in the air. It's like moguls. If you ever go skiing or you see hills, it's like moguls. You go through a cycle, you're up top, you could sell it, comes down, values drop, you go back up. You have to time it. And so having the ability to hold, have enough reserves, flexibility in your loans, making sure you can carry the property, making sure you've got good real estate fundamentals, you can renew your tenants. These are all things you have to deal with in commercial real estate. It goes back to smart money. Like if I wasn't in this business, I wouldn't want to invest by myself in commercial real estate. It's complicated. It's like you need relationships with people, whether the resources and contractors and engineers and issues come up with municipalities. And then you got tenants to deal with. And then you got your staff to deal with as well. It's a lot of things to manage. And when you understand it, you say, well, I'm going to let Alliance do the heavy lifting. Why am I doing that? And so that's why people invest with us. Yeah. And that's why I tell people in the book, I give them a realistic viewpoint of, hey, you want to do it, God bless you, go at it. However, think about investing in smart money.
Yeah. Hugo had said before we started the show here, we were talking about it a little bit before you got on, was about the can somebody pull money from their IRA and actually invest through their IRA to do this, or are you pulling it out, taking the penalty or whatever, and then investing it directly? You can't do it through that vehicle, can you?
You can. So we have a lot of investors that take self-directed IRAs and they invest in our funds and our syndications. And what happens is we pay returns directly to the custodian.
Gotcha.
You can't touch the money.
Gotcha. So you can do it. So that's a good question.
Yeah. So Hugo, great question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Give us a call. It's a wonderful question. It's a huge niche. There's actually a company in Pennsylvania where you guys are. It's called CAMA Plan.
Okay.
And CAMA they're a trustee, a custodian for self-directed IRAs. So a lot of people can set it up. We pay the returns into the custodian and their tax-free returns until you pull them out.
Correct. That's a good question here. Yeah.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
The only thing is, the only downside to doing that is you don't get to receive the tax benefits.
Gotcha.
Because you're deferring taxes in that.
Correct.
So if we have significant depreciation that we're offsetting the income, you don't get the benefit of that. So there's plus and minuses to it. But we have a lot of investors that have done self-directed. We have a lot of different custodians throughout the United States. It's a wonderful vehicle. It's a wonderful common, Hugo, because
that's awesome.
You're absolutely right. It's a great way to invest.
Yeah, that's cool. Was there anything else that we didn't cover here? I just want to make sure we cover everything that was the most important stuff that I wanted to cover. The other thing is, I was thinking about, had more to do with the IRA and the 401ks and stuff like that. So you can use the IRA vehicle. You can run it through there. Do you suggest that people diversify? Obviously, you still think they should keep their 401k and things like that. They shouldn't pull everything out of there and just say, I'm going into this 100%.
No, you should defer. I have a 401k through the company. I invest in digital assets. I invest in companies.
Okay.
And I have a large percentage in commercial real estate because I know what we do. I know how well we do it, and I know how to make money. And I love the tax benefits. I absolutely love the tax benefits. And so with that being said, people say to me, well, tell me about the hard asset blueprint. And the blueprint is the roadmap for everyone, if they're wondering. And it's something I've used for decades. It's how I find and buy and finance and scale hard assets the right way. That's what the blueprint is. And it's free if you download it. It's not theory.
Does the book help explain that blueprint?
Yes, it does. It helps it. So does the classes.
Yeah. Okay, good.
And we have on the website as well. And so it's step 1, it's step 2, and step 3, whether you're starting your first deal or protecting an 8-figure portfolio. The goal is simple with the blueprint. It's cash flow. It's tax efficiency. It's long-term security. It's not gambling. It's building. Yeah. Like I said, this blueprint and this book was forged in the fires of Ben Reinberg's experience and all my colleagues. And we came together and we said, okay, let's talk about how do you build a hard asset empire? And then I said, and then I'm going to create this blueprint, which is going to show you how to build your fortress.
Awesome, man. It's awesome. Good stuff. I learned a lot. And Hugo, anything else that you have any other questions?
That was very good. Just how do people get a hold of it?
Yeah, how do you get a hold of you? What's the best way to reach out? I know we can go on and look up your name, Ben Reinberg. When I did that, it's in there pretty much. But give us the best way to get in touch with you. Well,
there's a couple things. If you go to benreinberg.com, okay, you can buy the book. We have accountants, attorneys, and people all over the place buying it in bulk. You can go to Amazon to get the book or Barnes & Noble. And awesome. You can also download the Hard Asset Empire Blueprint for free from the website. You can follow me on all different social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, TikTok. We're all over the place.
That's great.
And I am all about adding value online. My online is business focused. It's I might see a little lifestyle here and there, but at the end of the day, it's all about adding value and trying to help you learn. It's my way of giving back. And so it's your first move. I mean, you don't have to be rich. You just need to start with the right strategy, which is what I give you. And if you're serious about building wealth, Brad, this is where you begin.
It's awesome.
And so it's I don't know, the book is maybe $29. It's a small investment. The classes are very reasonable and they're detailed, and you could start building a hard asset empire right away. And my advice to everyone out there listening is just get started. You don't need money. You can leverage other people's money. Read the book and you'll see. And
Sounds
you'll see that it's not so easy. It's not for the faint of heart. But if you put the work in and you're resilient and persistent and you show up every day, you will be successful.
Awesome. I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for being on the show. We'll talk to you soon.
My pleasure.
All right. There you go. Ben Reinberg. That was amazing. Host of I Own It podcast, but now it's going to be the Ben Reinberg Show. You want to check that out? The author of Hard Assets, Hard Money, and for Hard Times. CEO of Alliance Consolidated Group of Companies. You want to check him out. If you look up his name, you will find him. If you're looking into investing in hard assets, this is the guy, man. I'll tell you what, he knows a lot, and he's been through a lot. It's awesome. All right. Thanks for coming here every Thursday at 7 p.m. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, if you're looking to buy or sell a house in Berks County or beyond, let me know. This is Brad Weisman from the Brad Weisman Show. You probably know I'm also a realtor, but I wanted to remind you, if you have any questions or you need anything, please give me a call, 484-256-5836. Thanks.